All right, welcome to the Explainer. If you're an entrepreneur, looking to launch or maybe scale up an activewear line in 2026, consider this your exclusive masterclass. Look, finding a generic manufacturer overseas, that's incredibly easy these days. But finding a true technical partner, someone who actually gets performance fabrics and can legitimately elevate your brand, yeah, that's the real challenge. And honestly, that's exactly what we're going to solve today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for the Explainer. 1. The 2026 yoga wear landscape. 2. Top factories by brand need. 3. The fabric tech checklist. 4. Vetting your factory partner. And 5. Logistics and getting started. Section 1. The 2026 yoga wear landscape, mapping the terrain. So if you want to find that perfect technical partner, you've absolutely got to know exactly where to look across China's massive manufacturing hubs. It's basically a giant puzzle, but premium yoga wear production is basically split into two really distinct geographic regions. Over in Guangdong, so places like Dongguan and Guangzhou, you've got your high fashion hub. This is exactly where you go for complex designs, intricate cut and sew pieces, and really premium OEM services. Then, if we look at the Zhejiang region, which includes Haining and Yiwu, you'll find your high-tech hub. This is the undisputed global center for seamless knitting technology and just massive, large-scale wholesale production. Understanding this simple geography right off the bat, it literally saves you weeks of misdirected sourcing. Section 2. Top factories by brand need, the cheat sheet. Now, what's really interesting here, and this is probably the most anticipated part of our explainer, is how we match your specific business model with its absolute perfect factory counterpart. I highly recommend you just take a quick screenshot of this matrix. Notice how clearly divided the market is by specialization. Like if you're a fast fashion Amazon or TikTok seller, Fit2 is your match. They're incredibly e-commerce friendly, totally budget focused, with ultra low minimum order quantities starting at just 50 pieces. But what if you're building a modern eco-conscious brand? Then you want Huasheng. They lead the pack in sustainability, offering GRS certified recycled fabrics. Or if you're chasing that ultra-premium luxury performance feel, Unibenefit is your absolute go-to partner for those high-end results. Beyond those main players, you've really got to know the niche leaders, because specialization is absolutely the key to surviving the 2026 market. For example, take a look at Zhengbo and Ningbo. They just completely dominate high-volume wholesale. If you're ordering, say, over 5,000 pieces and you need the absolute lowest per unit cost possible, they are unmatched. On the flip side, look at Kittier and Qingdao. They've cornered the market on the body positive and maternity sectors. They solve some incredibly tricky ergonomic needs, like using these specialized high-stretch panels that prevent the fabric from going sheer in the 3XL to 6XL demographic. It's really impressive. Section 3. The Fabric Tech Checklist. Make or break metrics. Okay, so now that we know who to call, let's figure out what we're actually asking them to make. When it comes to activewear, hand feel and precise technical specs are the ultimate drivers of customer retention. First off, let's demystify some of this industry jargon so you sound like a total pro. We saw Jinshou earlier as the leader in seamless tech, but what does that actually mean? Well, seamless technology uses these highly specialized circular knitting machines. The really famous ones are made by Santoni, and instead of stitching flat pieces of fabric together, it knits the entire garment in a continuous tubular form, so no side seams. This completely eliminates chafing and friction while maximizing that beautiful body contouring four-way stretch. Next up is arguably the most critical acronym you need to internalize before you ever hit send on a request for quote: GSM. It stands for grams per square meter. Very simply, it's the metric used to measure the physical weight and density of your fabric. And trust me, getting this wrong is just fatal for an activewear brand.
So, the crucial point is this specific number range, 250 to 300. Seriously, burn this into your memory. This is the absolute gold standard GSM for squat-proof leggings. If you drop lower than 250, you're risking the fabric turning sheer and see-through the very second your customer bends over in a yoga class. And wow, that is a guaranteed way to destroy a brand's reputation overnight. You have to demand 250 to 300 GSM from your suppliers.
To guarantee that top-tier Lululemon quality finish, there are a few secret weapons you absolutely must include in your RFQ. First, composition. You want to aim for 75% nylon and 25% spandex. Definitely avoid high polyester blends. They just lack the breathability that premium brands really need. Second, color fastness. You need to explicitly request grade 4. You do not want your vibrant dyes bleeding onto your customer's skin during a heavy sweat session, right? And finally, stitching. Demand the 4-needle, 6-thread flat lock stitch. It's the undisputed king for maximum durability and comfort. Treat these metrics as life or death for your brand.
Section 4, vetting your factory partner, the verification hack.
All right, so your tech specs are locked in, but how do you actually know the factory on the other side of the world can deliver? We need to actively manage our risk here. I want you to follow this exact 3-step sequence so you can operate like a seasoned supply chain expert. Step 1, request a countersample. Basically, take your absolute favorite competitor's legging, mail it to the factory, and just say, replicate this fabric and fit perfectly. This instantly proves what they're capable of. Step 2, audit their certifications. Don't just take their word for it. Demand to see their BSCI certificate for ethical social compliance and their OECO-TEX standard 100 for chemical safety. And finally, step 3, insist on a video factory tour. Listen, any reputable factory in 2026 will gladly jump on a live WeChat or Zoom call and actually walk you through their sewing lines and quality control stations in real time.
Section 5, logistics and getting started, rapid-fire FAQs.
All right, you've verified their quality. Now, how do we jump those final hurdles and actually get this product across the ocean? Let's do a rapid-fire Q&A to clear up the most common roadblocks, starting with the big one. What is the typical minimum order quantity, or MOQ, for custom yoga leggings in China?
So for fully custom OEM designs, where you're picking the exact Pantone colors, the industry standard sits between 200 and 500 pieces per color. But here is a massive loophole for bootstrap startups: market fabrics. If you agree to use fabrics and colors the factory already has sitting right there in stock, manufacturers can often drop your MOQ down to just 50 pieces. It's a game changer.
Question 2. We talked about how amazing seamless tech is earlier, but why is seamless consistently more expensive to produce than traditional cut and sew? Honestly, it all comes down to machinery overhead and time. Seamless requires those incredibly expensive circular knitting machines, and calibrating them involves significantly longer setup times. However, and this is a big however, because it delivers a vastly superior, super comfortable fit with virtually zero chafing, it commands a much higher retail price point. The higher production cost is totally justified by the premium you can charge your customers. Next up, logistics. How do I handle shipping and logistics for dense yoga wear? Because you have to remember, premium activewear is heavy, and if you aren't careful, shipping weight will completely eat your profit margins alive. Okay, here is your rule of thumb. If you have small, fast e-commerce orders, you're going to want to use Air Express through carriers like DHL or FedEx. It's fast, but yeah, it's pricey. However, once you scale up and start hitting bulk orders over 500 kilograms, you must switch to sea-to-door. Specifically, you want to negotiate DDP terms, which stands for Delivered Duty Paid. This is absolutely crucial because under DDP, the supplier cost-effectively manages all those complex import duties and taxes for you before the shipment ever even reaches your door. And our final rapid-fire question, specifically for boutique brand owners who might be terrified of massive upfront commitments. Can I get custom branding or private label on small orders? The answer is a resounding yes. You literally don't need to order thousands of pieces just to get a custom woven tag. The brilliant workaround here is to utilize heat transfer logos. You can source premium blank garments in really small batches and simply have the factory apply a high-quality heat transfer of your logo right to the inside collar or the back waistband. It completely bypasses those crazy high MOQs and gives you a really professional, established brand aesthetic on a tight budget. So, armed with the GSM Golden Rule and your brand new factory matrix, which Chinese manufacturing hub will you partner with to dominate the 2026 activewear market? Are you heading to the high-fashion lines of Guangdong or the high-tech seamless hubs of Zhejiang? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay focused, and hey, happy sourcing.